Hi, this is my random recipes. I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about cookies. I'm really not certain on how to pronounce the name of today's recipe, but I'll give it a try. Anisplatehen? Let me know how I did. I'll just call these Grandma Ann's Anise cookies. A while back, a friend asked me if my house was on fire and I could only grab one recipe as I was going out the door, what recipe would it be? It would be today's recipe. These were a favorite of mine. My grandma used to make them, usually around the holidays, around Christmas. The name sounds German. Grandma was Italian. But I know Italians like things that are anise flavored as well. This is a 2-day recipe. The recipe itself isn't all that difficult, but there are eggs in it and they need to be beaten for 20 minutes solid. Then they're portioned out onto cookie sheets. They're left out overnight where they foam up and make their own little frosting, kind of a meringue type topping. Then they're baked. Because of my pets, I will only be able to make a single batch because my cookies will have to sit in the oven overnight. Pet hair. So let's get to work. Let's make some cookies. Today we get to put Mac to work. So I'll turn my camera so you get to see Mac. I'll read the instructions and then we'll go from there. So I'm supposed to beat eggs in beater at medium speed until fluffy. Add sugar gradually. Beat constantly. Continue beating for 20 minutes more. Reduce speed. Mix flour which has been sifted with baking powder and salt. Beat an additional 3 minutes. Add the anise. Let's just crack the eggs right into the big bowl. Need 3 eggs at room temperature. All right, let's get it going. Okay, so we're going to add the sugar a little bit at a time. Okay, so the sugar's in, the eggs are getting frothy. I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes and just let the eggs go. All right, so that's been 20 minutes. So I'm supposed to reduce the speed and add the flour, but I want to mix the flour on camera. So turn this down. I'll bring in my flour. So this is 1 1/3 cups flour, and I haven't sifted it yet because I'm supposed to add half a teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. And I'll sift them together. I want to show you the texture of the cookie batter. It's more like a cake batter. Go ahead and start this back up. We'll add this a little at a time. It sounds different. It's sounding more like it's working a little harder. So I'm going to turn this off a moment. Right, so I'm going to add in my anise. I remember asking Grandma before if she added anise seed or anise extract. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of anise seed or extract. I don't know if she doubled up and did 4 tablespoons or she did half and half. That's what I'm doing today. Because even, too much of a good thing is still too much. I'm going to put in the liquid first. And it's kind of pasty in there. I think that the wet will help loosen things up a little bit. And now come the seeds. It's really pasty. I think I'm starting to understand how this recipe works. Well, it's got a very fragrant smell. And I call it good as far as the beating goes. So now I'm supposed to drop by heaping teaspoonfuls onto a well-greased and floured cookie sheet. I use pan spray, and then this is just flour. I think I use my hands. They're a little sticky, but the dough is sticky, but I think that's the better choice. Cookie, what are you doing? Okay, let's do that. Oh, I like that. That looks good. I know that hers are nice and round. I've eaten these cookies plenty of times. I have never made them before. Definitely sticky. Hers were flattened down, I know that. That works better. I like that. Okay, I'll put those aside. We'll do the next tray. Okay, 15, 16, 17, and 12 is 29. All right, so we have 29 cookies. Now, if I've done these correctly, they should create a meringue-like frosting on top of them themselves by morning. So these are going to go in the oven, no heat, no light, door shut. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll get pet hair in them. And then they will sit overnight, and then we'll be back to bake them tomorrow. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next day. The sun is shining. Nice day out. So the cookies have sat in the oven overnight. Actually, it's been quite a few hours. So I'm going to turn them down so you can see them. This is before they've been baked. These are going to go in the oven. They bake at 325 for 10 minutes or so, plus or minus. I'm going to do each batch separately so that they bake to the best of their abilities. And we'll be back when they're done so you can see the outcome. Okay, so I'm back. The cookies are done, and here comes my cookie, the four-legged variety. Turn the camera down so you can see what I have here. So it actually worked. It's kind of hard to see, but they did frost themselves. Yay! So it worked. I'll pick one from the first batch and one from the second batch so I can show you, do a comparison, see how they turned out. I'm going to cut them in half, so you, or at least one of them, so you can see the little frosting layer, sort of, maybe. It's hard to tell, but it's kind of a flaky, that's like it right there. So that's the frosting. Now in Grandma's, hers were flatter and a little bit smaller round, so that's something I could work on. But overall, they look like they work, so that's, I'm kind of pleased with that. So I'll turn this up and we'll do a taste test and see how they turned out. Hard to see it, but there is a frosting layer. It's like really thin. They're a little bit softer than Grandma's, I think. Again, hers were a little bit flatter. That probably is a factor in it. Has a good anise flavor. If you don't like licorice, you probably won't like these. Well, it looks a little underdone inside. I should have baked it another minute or so. But again, you can see that this little layer on top. Yeah, this one should have baked another minute or so. The flavor is good though. Something I'll have to work on. I'm glad I didn't go with any more anise than I did. 1 tablespoon of the seeds and 1 tablespoon of extract. That was plenty. I definitely have a good strong licoricey or anise flavor, so I think that worked out just fine. Today's cookies are a reason why I bought my stand mixer, Mac. They weren't the entire reason, but they were definitely a consideration. I knew this recipe was coming up, and I knew that they were going to have that it was supposed to be beaten for 20 solid minutes, and I really didn't think my old hand mixer was going to be up to the task. One concern with these cookies is I may not want to share them with my coworkers. There are too many memories attached to them, and frankly, not everybody likes Anna's favorite foods. So, oh well, that's their loss, my game. Last time I told you a little bit of a lie, not intentionally. Last time I said we would be in the middle of Grandma Ann's recipe collection for quite some time. Well, that's not entirely true. After I said that, I realized that we really weren't in the middle of Grandma Ann's collection. It's just there was a couple of little recipes spattered inside because it was done alphabetically. But there'll be an entire section just dedicated to Grandma Ann before too long. Well, next time, Aunt Lois is coming for a visit again, so we get to see what strange and wonderful creation she came up with. Her recipes look strange on paper, but they so far have turned out to be really good in real life. So we'll see how that turns out. We'll include the ingredients and the preparation for Grandma Ann's Anise cookies in the description below. If you have any questions or other feedback for me, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments. I really do like hearing from you. It makes my day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that. It helps my channel to continue to grow. Thank you for joining me on my new adventure that's all about cookies. See you again next time. Bye.